Oh my goodness. To say I am blown away by the support my tribe has given me in this journey called Whispers of Lather soap business is an understatement. I just did the math from all of my March sales, and I sold 180 bars of cold processed soap and 13 little sisal bags of Little Whispers, which is the end cuts off of the loaves, and there's 3.5 ounces, a little bit more, of soap in each sisal bag, and we call those Little Whispers. So if you've caught some of my earlier videos, you've seen this, and if I'm a little tongue-tied, I am just in utter shock. I use this. My goal is 750 bars of soap for the year. That will cover my LLC fees, my city business license, and my liability insurance. And that $750 is saving 25 cents back from each bar of soap, and 25 cents back from each little bag of Little Whispers, and 50 cents from each bar of soap. I'm just pulling that out, putting it in an account, and saving that money because those are annual expenses. And I am growing on such, for me, I realize this is a small business, for me, I'm having to scale very quickly because I have signed up for one of the largest festivals in our area. It's in the town I work in, and it's about 30 minutes away. I live in the area that is home of the Vidalia Sweet Onions, and Vidalia has their festival at the end of April. And every other year, the Blue Angels come in, and I will have my soap at the Arts and Crafts Festival. So I'm having to make a ton of soap for that. By proximity principle, I am in an apple house in North Georgia, and tourist season begins in May, and they have ordered 45 bars of soap. And I realize for large companies, I'm small scale, but y'all, so humble and so excited for the opportunity. And a local farm and feed store picked me up, and they had just opened another store about an hour and a half away from the store that's close to me. So I'm making on all of those levels to be ready for all of those store needs, plus that really big festival. I have a festival on Saturday in my hometown. I have a festival, I'm off the next weekend, and then I'm doing a spring event at a store that a friend owns about 20-30 minutes from me. So my April is completely full. I have a birthday party for my twin nephews. That's my only quote-unquote weekend off, and that birthday party is 3 hours away. So let's get started counting 180 little squares. I don't see any half squares anywhere that indicates that I sold an odd number of Little Whispers, because I'm only doing a half square for Little Whispers because I'm only saving 25 cents each. So let's just count, and then we'll go back and highlight. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60. 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80. Okay, so we've passed, and the orange is January, the yellow is February, and the pink is March. So we have surpassed the 250 mark in 3 months. Y'all, I really thought it would take me 4 or 5 months to get to 250. Like, when I took out the insurance and stuff, it's like, I know I have to have this, but am I going to sell enough to justify the cost? But I wanted to do this business legally and pay all the taxes that I'm supposed to and be licensed and have the proper insurance. And with that, of course, comes expenses. I do have a business license that allows me to operate out of my home. If you hear my dog spaz out in a minute barking, I do have somebody coming to do a porch pickup. Their purchase is not in that total. I'll count that in April because I'd already done my math when I got the text that somebody needed some soap. To recap what I did for the month of March to get to this number, I went to 3 events. 2 were poorly attended. One was a weather and another community double schedule issue. So starting with the first one, the first of the weekend of the month, I went to the farm and feed store that picked up my soap. They have a first Saturday of the month event, and I did incredibly well. And they pulled a dozen of my soaps after that event and put them in the store. And I got a text 2 weeks later, or an email, that they had sold out of everything they had gotten. I need to come by and bring them some more. And I was already committed to bringing some by anyway for their other store that they were fixing to open, that they wanted the soap in for the grand open thing, which is this weekend, I think. So that one was well attended. That one was a very, very successful event. The second weekend of the month, up the road from my house, just a block up the road, is the Community Historical Society for my town. And they do a second Saturday of the month, Anything Goes weekend event. And that is a mixture of vendors and yard sale. And it was a very poorly attended event. It was also, we are 20 minutes away from a large festival that was being held that day. It was St. Patrick's Day weekend, and I live an hour-ish west of Savannah and an hour and a half-ish from Tybee Island. And Tybee Island, I think, had their St. Patrick's Day stuff that same day, and Savannah that whole weekend is a hubbub of St. Patrick's Day festivities with greening of the fountains in the squares, as well as they have their big St. Patrick's Day parade on St. Patrick's Day. So that one was not a good event. I had the third weekend of the month off from soaping because I had a commitment that I was not about to get out of. It's my favorite event that my family or my husband and I do. If my son's in town, he'll help with it, but he had to work. And so I took that weekend off from selling soap. And then last weekend, a local farm had a Easter egg hunt and a vendor event for the community. They unfortunately scheduled it the same day as the local rec department's spring kickoff. And so that just is a very poor event. That family was very heartbroken with the time and effort they put into the event. They've done 5 events so far since they've begun doing them. And they said this was the lowest turnout they had ever had. So they were disappointed, to say the least. So it wasn't a good weekend. But I stocked the Apple House with soap and I am in a store at a lodge, a hunting lodge about an hour from my house, and I stocked a few soaps in there. So I stocked 3 stores. I had 3 events. One was incredibly well attended, and I had really good sales. The other 2 were not. Took a weekend off, and then I had sales for all of my regular customers. So when you add that all up, 180 bars of soap. And we need to count 12 of these squares for Little Whispers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and a half. And guys, ladies, dream big. I don't know where this is going to take me. I don't know what God has in store for this business, but I am excited to be in His will and along for the ride. And this was kind of long, but I am so excited. And I just wanted to tell you, for those who are just starting out in a business, you don't have to start big. Start somewhere, celebrate your victories, learn from the low attendance events. If there was anything you could do to fix your booth, or whether it was just a poor attended event, or like the one at the Historical Society, the ones that did come went straight for the 2 yard sale booths out of the 4, not the 4 of us who actually had merchandise to sell. So come back and see me on long form content in April to find out how I did, or come back and see me end of April, 1st of May to see how I did in April. I'm sure I will do a content video with my monetization. I've hit a little snag with Facebook. Nothing that can't be fixed. It's just going to take a little time and careful wording on my part. I am not demonetized. I have not had any issues with Facebook. Just there's some problems and kinks that need to be worked out. So stay tuned. That's going to be another long form content video. And make sure you check out my short forms because I have videos of me making the soap. So thank you for your support. Bye.